But anyway, with Entourage, so once we figure out how awesome we're going to look fighting, then Adrian, who plays Vince, is kind of like, well, what am I doing during this? And I said to him, and Adrian's not a sports guy, I said, dude, you're the quarterback. He's like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, it means you just walk away because you're the movie star and we got to protect you at all costs. So just walk away. He's like, oh, I didn't know that about quarterbacks. He knows nothing about sports. Another episode of Throwbacks. I think I finally found the sweet spot in the music where I need to jump in and talk. Takes a little bit of a learning curve. Of course, I'm always joined by my new best friend, Matt Leinart, the real Matty Ice. Matt, how's it going?
The real Matty Ice. I'm doing good, buddy. I got my my Shohei shirt on today.
You do have a good Shohei shirt.
For this week, because he's about to make history.
So you always say that you're not really like a fan of anything, but this would be your number one fandom, right? In sports?
Yeah, I'm a lifelong Dodger fan. I remember where I was when Kirk Gibson hit the home run in 1988. I was 5. I still remember where I was. How about like my favorite Dodger of all time, Kirk Gibson, and I went into the College Football Hall of Fame with him the same year.
Did?
He was an All-American receiver at Michigan State. Isn't that wild?
I didn't even know that. There's so many athletes
so
that you never realize. Like, oh yeah, also could have probably played football if he maybe really geared.
By the way,
himself
all
for that.
weekend, just straight Dodger talk. We didn't even talk football. I was like, dude, tell me about Lasorda. Tell me about back in the day. It was so fun, man.
All right, so you do fan out. That makes me happy. You do have, at least Knicks adjacent for you as Dodgers.
I will say this. I will say this. Watching Dodger playoff games are very similar to you watching Knicks games.
Okay.
How I react. Now again, there's 182 games in a season, so I don't watch every single game. But when it's playoff time, I am 9-inning invested on the couch, Dodger shirt on, hat, like let's go. And the minute we go down 3-0 in the 5th, you can ask my wife. I'm like, dude, we suck, dude. We're losing. I'm just one of those.
All right, that's good to know because we have to talk later about our little 3-point shooting contest bet that we have going. We're going to touch on that because it's starting to get real. And also, we want to hear from you. Social handles are at Throwback Show on YouTube, X, Instagram, TikTok. We have a new email, feedback at throwbackshow.com. So as we come up for the stakes of this bet, because this bet is happening in LA soon, you guys can maybe help me out because I know Matt's going to go for my juggler. So at least I got to put some fear into him about what the stakes are going to be.
We're going to shoot at USC Galen Center. I'm going to reserve that for us. Maybe we'll even invite out the USC basketball team just to watch.
So it's a home game for you, essentially. It's a road game.
I've never shot there, so it's if you want, we can go in my backyard. I got a little sport court in the backyard. That would be home court.
You've never shot there, but you've hung banners there, like not in the basketball, like in the camp. I mean, that's
Jerry. USC basketball hasn't hung a banner since I don't know when. Okay, so we got no banners.
I'll just talk about you're a legend on that campus and you're making me go in there. All right. And also, we're speaking about fandom. I want to give a quick shout out to you, the listener. We thank you very much for supporting this show. Huge last couple of days. It almost had like Entourage vibes when Vince has a movie open number 1. The show is sitting at number 1 on Apple Podcasts for damn near a week. So,
dude, that was
awesome.
Shout out. Well, first of all, shout out to the team behind the pod and everybody. We got an A+ team. We've been building this obviously all summer and talking about it, and it's here, and the fans and the guests, Ashton and Jay, and just everybody involved that's helping this thing grow. We are so fired up, man, and this is just the beginning. We're in it for the long run. Me and Jerry we're besties, and we are in it for the long run, guys. So shout out to everybody listening, man. We appreciate y'all.
I could say that because our wives are becoming friends now, too. So that's how you know you're really in it for the long run.
The minute they start texting on the side with us not on the group chat, we're in trouble, dude. We are in trouble.
And, I figured no guest today because we had 2 great guests early. And I do think we need this episode to continue to build our podcast friendship. We're going to hit NFL in a minute. But I always like to start the show and I like to end the show with Matt, like, where were you? And then later we'll do where you going. But Matt, where were you last weekend with Big Noon?
Dude, I was hanging with Offset, bro. Offset was me and Offset are boys now.
Is that your boy? Are we getting him on the show?
Yeah, let me go through his team to see if he remembers who I am last weekend. I was in Madison, Wisconsin, dude. I was there from Wednesday to Sunday, so I felt like I was there for a long time. We shot a Wendy's commercial. Shout out to Wendy's. We shot a Wendy's commercial Thursday. But I say this: we went to Madison a couple of years ago, and by far and away my favorite place to go. And whether they're doing good in football or not, it's the fan base, it's the game day atmosphere, it's the downtown, it's everything. Like, they just make you feel so awesome there. And we had a blast. And shout out to College Club, the bar, and Jordan, the owner, for getting us in. The KK.
You went, dude. Right?
Bro, I was there
place.
Thursday night for 30 minutes, me and Mark Ingram, and you would have thought Mark Ingram was LeBron James, dude. This kid. And remember, Alabama was in town too. It was hysterical. I felt like the old guy like, you know when you go into a bar now, if I go into a bar and I see like a 60-year-old dude and I'm like, come on, man, you got to go home. I felt like that guy in a college bar, kind of at the corner of the bar, just like, what am I doing? But it's okay, because I went back Saturday night with friends and we rocked it and we had a blast. So shout out to the KK out there for hooking it up, man. We had a blast though, dude. It was so much fun.
I will say with
you've been to the KK. You've been into the KK,
yeah,
right?
with our own triple option with Mark Ingram. Jason Kelsey got a lot of shine. It's like, oh, what a fun guy at the party. I put Mark Ingram on that list of just fun guy you want to invite to your birthday party. Just fun. He's gonna turn up and have fun.
He will turn up. His energy is unmatched. Kelsey's energy.
No,
what was that dance the other night? Like, what is he doing, dude? That guy's hysterical though.
Speaking of, did you jump around in Wisconsin? Did you jump around?
I did. I jumped. It's a fun moment. It's cool. I always
even when they're getting their brains beat in. It's a fun
every
moment.
time. Well, that's the thing. Every time I've been to Wisconsin doing jump around, they're always getting their butt kicked, and the other team is like basically taunting them with jump around at the start of the fourth quarter. But it's one of the better traditions in college football. So it's good, man. Good to be back.
A big
though.
one for your boys this weekend, right? SC, Michigan. SC's 11. They get this win. They're favored. You going into the big house.
SC's favored, and I would have never thought that going into the season. But Michigan has really struggled to kind of find an identity, and it's not surprising given the amount of guys they lost.
Right.
It's still tough though. Defending national champ in the big house. They're starting Alex Orji, who's getting the keys to this car. He's a terrific athlete, dynamic, a great runner. It's going to be tough, man. This could be good atmosphere. Both teams coming off a bye, so you know Michigan will be ready to rock, man. But Trojans first big time Big Ten game.
Yeah,
which is awesome. Wild.
I was even trying to think when was the last really big SC game, just in general, that had so much implications for.
So
later
the last time I maybe Andrew can back me up on this. The last time USC beat a ranked opponent on the road was 2016, maybe. I think I read that with Sam
that
Darnold.
Long.
Yeah, dude. I mean, we've been in the bottom cellar in regards to expectation, because I think it was like that. It was a long time ago since we have beat a team on the road that was ranked. So we'll see what happens, man.
I'm so envious that I just watch college football from a betting perspective, and I don't have that. Like, my heart's nowhere. My heart is nowhere. My heart is not with. And I have a big heart when it comes to fandom. My heart is nowhere. My heart is nowhere.
I'm not. But when I watch SC, I'm not like I'm rooting for them, but I'm not as. I guess invested's not the right word, but I'm not like you, where I'm literally my day depends on whether they win or lose, dude. I am. They lose, I'm going home. I might pour me a tequila on a Saturday and have a good night. You're going to bed angry and miserable,
and not sleeping, probably,
and sleeping.
And trying to avoid certain podcasts, especially Philadelphia ones. All right, we're gonna hit NFL in a second, and I really don't want to. Oh wait, hold on. Andrew found something for us. He found last time USC football beat a ranked opponent on the road was 2022. They defeated number 16 UCLA 48-45 at the Rose Bowl, and then I think Matt, you're probably right before that. I think you probably go
that
back
doesn't
to
count though. That doesn't count. It's UCLA, dude. We don't count UCLA.
I love the snark.
Shout out to Andrew.
We won't count that. Good fact finding though, and we're gonna hit NFL because a lot of interesting things happened going into week 3. But before, there was a little, we try to keep it current. There was a little bit of a Woj bomb, not the Woj bomb that we expect. We've come to expect Woj bombs with player movement. What did you think when you heard Woj retired to become the GM of his alma mater?
Well, my first reaction was like, and Woj's all-time GOAT, right? But my first reaction was why? And then I read, and I'm like, okay, alma mater, so obviously loves it. But then to handle what like NIL stuff and all that, I'm just like, ooh, like what an interesting time to get involved in NIL, where that's just a disaster. But yeah, I mean, look, look, you go back to like Belichick's gone, Pete Carroll, like just big names in our sports world.
We've lost a lot.
Yeah, we've lost a lot. We lost another good man is down, man.
Although we lost Belichick, but we probably got more of the person Belichick other than the coach that we have this year. For me, I do have a little tiny bit of a personal relationship with Woj over the years. He invited me years ago to go on his pod, which for me as a basketball nerd was one of the best moments. And he gave me a few little tidbits, little stories that maybe nobody ever knew. We'll text here and there, but the minute Woj season starts, I'll always send the feeler out. I just get no response. That guy must get asked by so many acquaintance friends, like, what are the Knicks doing? And he's a vault. He's given me nothing over the years.
Is there anything better than the first day of NBA free agency when Woj just drops the hammer?
Well, yeah, that's what I think we all were saying thank you to him for all the years. Because first of all, he was a great columnist to begin his career. If you go back, some of the Woj columns before he was like a newsbreaker insider were amazing. And then he helped create the NBA offseason into one of the best reality shows ever.
Yep.
And I think we owe a little bit of a thanks to him for that, the way he reported it and approached it. But I have two moments in my life where I had jaw-dropping, frozen in time, can't believe this happened moments, and they were both Woj bombs. One was when the Knicks traded Porzingis. I was in like a Whole Foods in Florida and saw the news, and I dropped my grocery basket and froze because Porzingis was my guy. That was like my nephew with the Knicks. So I couldn't believe.
That was your nephew?
Well, I've met him a bunch of times. I claim him as my 7'4" nephew, and that just froze me in my tracks. And another one was, I think, when, I want to say it was when LeBron came back to Cleveland, and I know he took charge of that, but Woj froze me in my tracks. So shout outs to Woj. He sent me a baby gift when my first son was born. Didn't have to do that, and he's a class act. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the St. Bonaventure now. I'm going to be keeping. I never would have before this.
I pulled up some of the biggest Woj stories. You tell me which one you think the biggest is. KD and Kyrie signing with the Nets.
Oh, that one hurt my soul.
Yeah, I know. My soul. PG3 and Kawhi to the Clippers.
Yeah.
By the way,
that was a big one.
I could care less about the Clippers. It's a Laker town.
Right.
But LeBron to the Lakers, and then the NBA suspends the season because of COVID.
Oh, did he break that one too? Yeah.
I think so.
Right after Rudy Gobert touched all the microphones.
Oh, God. What a wild time to be alive.
Also, too, he, in a way, made the draft fun, but he brought it into modern times, but him releasing the draft pick 30 seconds before the pick, I always thought, and I know ESPN probably didn't love that, and then it happens in the NFL now. So I actually had to, I don't ever mute Woj, but I just had to basically stay away from his Twitter on NBA draft night because I want to be a little surprised. So shout outs to Woj.
Yep. Shout out to Woj, man. Hall of Famer, GOAT, icon.
And now we're going to see how you do as a GM. Okay, Maddie. Wild week 2, we know, and it's really hard to surprise us at this point with stuff in the NFL because you're just prepared to always be surprised. But going into week 3, through 2 weeks going into week 3, what are some of the things that you are most surprised by?
Well, we're gonna get into quarterbacks here in a second, but I just went online, and how about this? MVP right now, Derek Carr, maybe Kyler Murray, maybe Sam Darnold. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just saying, just like 2 weeks.
What about Baker? Was Baker on there?
Baker,
because
this, and then how about this leading rusher in the NFL right now? Do you know who that
Kamara?
Is? No, dude, it's J.K. Dobbins.
Oh, J.K., yeah.
And number 2...
The comeback player of the year, J.K. Dobbins.
Number 2, Mason from San Francisco. through 2 weeks.
Yeah, but that was a rude awakening.
No, I know, but isn't it like, so it's just like the NFL, man. You just never know. You never know. I mean, I think shout out to all those guys, and shout out to, Derek Carr for, just getting obviously the criticism last year, and is he the right guy? And he's off to a great start. And Sam Darnold, which we've talked about before in the pod, like just kind of like a rebirth there in Minnesota, having an opportunity and playing well. So, and then, like what, Ravens, Bengals, 0-2, like some of those teams. It's a long season, but you just never know, man. The NFL's tough.
Well, I don't want to say it's the biggest surprise, because after I thought it through, for me, I guess it made sense, but it just brought 1,000 questions. And I know a lot of people are covering this in certain ways. I have different questions. Bryce Young getting benched with Carolina. So obviously Carolina's not good. We knew they're not good. He has not looked good. Not breaking news there. I always find it hard to blame. And a quarterback gets so much credit and also does take so much of the blame, but nothing on that team is working. But benching him at this point, Matt, is this, hey, we've seen enough, we want to maybe protect some trade value here? Or is this, hey, we're going to just restart the process next year. We're going to probably be picking one in the second round. So we're going to bolster up through the draft and start this whole thing over? Or is this stint in Carolina ending? Are we watching the ending of Carolina? We talked a lot about like quarterbacks off texting. It's like, the Niners cut bait with Trey Lance early and they didn't hold on, and other teams hold on. So what do you make of this benching and what the Panthers are doing?
Well, first of all, I think it's great for Bryce Young in the long run, and I believe that. I haven't watched like the film every play, but I'm sure there's plays out there that he's missed. That happens every single week. But this organization did him no favors. I think his time in Carolina is probably done, and I think that's probably best for both organizations. And I was thinking about this, and this is a second-year player who was drafted, number one, right? He's number one overall.
Number one, traded a lot.
Number one overall to Carolina, okay? He has a head coach, an OC, that gets fired after his first year. He gets a new head coach, a new system this year, which is already hard enough to learn a new system. I mean, Derek Carr even talked about how tough it is to learn a new system every year, and he's a 10-year vet, whatever.
Yeah.
This kid didn't play preseason. I think he played maybe a series or two in the preseason, where C.J. Stroud played in preseason, right? New system, whatever. And so, like, you throw this guy out there to the wolves when when a kid is still learning the system, he's still developing as an NFL player. It drives me crazy, the need and the desire to throw these kids out there. And just in his instance, like, you don't have a supporting cast. You have a terrible offensive line. You have a new system. He needs all the reps he can get. I throw him there in preseason, get him all the reps, get him hurt, get him hit a little bit, and just get a feel for the system. And so, look, I think this was an organizational failure by the Carolina Panthers. I really believe that. I think Bryce Young could probably play better. I think this will be the best thing that happens to his career. You look at Sam Darnold. We've talked about it. Look at Sam Darnold. Look at Baker. Baker went to Carolina. Baker led Cleveland to a playoff berth a couple years ago. Doesn't work out. Goes to Carolina for a cup of coffee. Doesn't work out. And now he's in Tampa Bay making $50 million a year, playing as good as anybody,
MVP,
because he's got a competent team around him and an organization.
True.
So. And I think we talked about this. Tom Brady, I think, the video of him kind of going viral this week about just the lack of development and the rush to play these quarterbacks is a travesty to most of them. Does it work every once in a while? Yes. But to most of them, because these players aren't developed anymore at the collegiate level. They're not necessarily developed at the high school level. How many times a game, I know you say you don't have a college football team per se, but when you're watching a game, how much do you see the quarterback look to the sideline for a play? All the time, right?
All the time.
All the time. There's no such thing as a huddle anymore. There's very few offenses that require a quarterback to have to get into checks and reads and progress and all of these things. It just doesn't happen to the point where you need it to happen in the NFL. A lot of these coaches are calling plays from the side. So, it's just a long list of things, in my opinion. I hate it. As you can tell, I'm pretty passionate about this with young quarterbacks.
No, this is great.
And look, I'm not even I would put myself in that category as well. I think there are also reasons for me why it didn't work out, and it's different. But still, when you're thrust into that situation and the expectation, and you're just not ready, like this is what happens, man. So I'm happy for him. I think he's going to learn. Maybe to your point, maybe a trade. You're starting to hear a little bit of rumors. Maybe the Rams.
I'm hearing Giants rumors too, which I texted Glazer. Glazer gave me nothing. Comes on our pod last week. I don't want nothing.
That makes no sense. That makes no sense for the Giants. Makes no sense for Bryce. He needs to go to a play right now where they have an established guy who's got a year or two left. Rams
will be good.
Rams,
McVay
Matt Stafford.
and Stafford, 2
that
years.
System. How much have we talked about that system? LaFleur. Look what LaFleur did with Malik.
Look what
Willis.
it did for Baker too.
Baker.
When he spent some time. So I get. How much do you think? I can only imagine what it's like to be Bryce Young right now, just in terms of psyche and confidence. I can only relate to what I've been through in my career, which is nothing like an athlete's career. But early on in Entourage, I was criticized as being the rawest, the youngest. Does this guy know what he's doing? There was websites out there designed to kill my character off the show. I want to say the producers, after we shot the pilot, saw the pilot and sent me for improv lessons, which that hurt my ego very much because I thought that was one of my strong points. And I definitely went into the second episode months later nervous and trying not to screw up.
Yep.
And at some point, even at that level in the NFL, being a quarterback with all those coaches and everything available to you, does it become, I just don't want to screw up. I don't want to throw the pick. I don't want to fumble. I don't want to overthrow the guy. And when you're doing that, it's almost impossible, especially in a sport like football, to really be good.
Well, when you're like in any industry, especially acting too, like obviously that's a tough industry to crack and sustain.
So much confidence.
Confidence. And when you're told by your bosses or peers that, hey man, like you just might not be good enough, or hey, we're going to go in a different direction, or hey, you didn't get this part because you didn't have a good enough improvisational skills, whatever. Like, dude, it's a blow to the ego. And the quarterback position, I say this all the time. We always talk about, it's like 80% mental, 20% physical. Everybody that makes the NFL is physically gifted. I don't care if you can't throw. It doesn't, whether you can run, whatever. You are physically gifted if you make that level. Now, the part where you succeed is the mental part. And the minute that mental part is cracked, it is challenging. I dealt with that for a couple years. I had no confidence in Arizona. Zero. I had the most confidence of any quarterback in college and even my rookie year. Right. Even my rookie year, because I was not looking over my shoulder. I didn't care. I was just going out there playing ball, throwing picks, touchdowns, winning a couple games. Like, hey, I got this.
Letting it fly.
Then that got in the way, and then I was humbled very, very quickly. But then I was told basically I was good. Then you just go through that grind, man. And as a quarterback, your average career in the NFL as a player is 3 years, dude. So like whether you're a number one pick or you're a 6th-round pick, if you kind of get lost in the shuffle, you get lost in one of these organizations, you don't seize the most of an opportunity, maybe a second opportunity, you're done. You're absolutely done. So look, Bryce has still got a lot of football left in him. This isn't that case, but that's why I'm glad 2 games in, dude, fine. Bench him. Don't play him anymore. Let this kid learn, develop. Andy Dalton's a great person to learn from. Get out of there and go get a reboot. I mean, Justin Fields.
So you think it's over? No, there's no way.
Bro, look at Justin Fields.
Well, I'm saying there's no way for, I guess, Dalton's kind of like the litmus test. If they go out and get shut out and Dalton has the same struggles, who is a competent veteran quarterback as Bryce, then I think everyone will all say, all right, the team is just bad.
Right.
Maybe even Mahomes couldn't drag this team to 8 wins. Who knows? So maybe Bryce gets a reboot in Carolina still, which would probably require maybe a whole new regime. So, but you're saying it's not over for certain in Carolina, but the best thing for Bryce Young would be to go somewhere else and start over. With the
best thing, learn, develop, practice, just learn the play. Like, just do all those things. Develop as a quarterback, learning from Andy Dalton, who's a terrific pro, had a great career. Whether Andy balls out or not, it doesn't matter for Bryce. My gut is that Bryce is done in Carolina, so which is crazy, but.
And real quick for you, because I don't think we have an answer to this question, but I went on this deep dive because off of Brady's point, which, they don't develop quarterbacks enough, and everyone's in a rush to play. I went down the rabbit hole and I sent you all the names via text. Obviously, you're one of the names on the list of quarterbacks who started right away, quarterbacks who came in after a few games, and then quarterbacks who sat a year or two. And I don't have to go down the list. I could if anybody would want me to, but it doesn't make any sense. Some guys start right away and succeed. Some guys wait a year and don't succeed. Some guys get thrown in because with you, when you came in, refresh my memory though, did Kurt get benched or did he get hurt when you came in?
He got benched.
Benched.
I came in and
did you have any inklings you might, were you already like, hey, Matt, stay loose?
I just
always
knew.
Loose,
I had obviously the hype coming in. I was a 10th pick. I had a really good preseason. And so I felt, yeah. And again, we had great, we had Larry Fitzgerald, we had Anquan Bolden. We weren't not a great organization, obviously, but we had great receivers. And, Kurt, I think we were 1-3. So Kurt was struggling a little bit. And there was pressure on Kurt with Denny Green and them drafting me for him to play well. Wasn't playing particularly well, and they hooked him after 4 games. And then I went on, and the first 2 games I played was the Chiefs. Chiefs, we lost by a field goal at the end, and then the Monday night game, and then we ended up going 5-11 that year. But there was promise there. And then I sprained my AC joint the very last game of the year. I was kind of out for a couple months. We had a new coach, Wisenhunt, just hated me from the get-go and whatever. He just didn't like me. He didn't get along. And that was the start of it to me. Now, I didn't help myself in some areas, but he brought it. And again, learning a new system, right? When I'm a rookie, learning the first one, Denny's system was completely different than that system they were running in Pittsburgh with Big Ben at the time. And then, trying to learn that, getting back from an injury, and then battling. And then actually, it wasn't even a battle. I was a starter going into year 2, started the first 5 games and broke my collarbone, and then I was out. And then Kurt took over, I think led us to a playoff that year. And then it was a so-called battle the next year, but it was his team. And again, he ended up having a Hall of Fame career. So it was just one of those things where it was just coaching and the system and all that. It killed my confidence with I felt like I was being messed with, mind games and just trying to do all these things. And it was tough to get back from that. And then I've said this in Houston, I really got the confidence back, even as a backup, with Kubiak and that system. They taught the position the way it should be taught. But yeah, man, it's tough, dude. It's a tough position. And as you said, there's outliers and there's really not a rhyme or reason. I would say most fail. Most don't live up to the hype of being a top pick. And you can define whatever that looks like for you, but most don't. Because remember, when you're going 1 or 2 or top 5, you're going to a organization for the most part because they're struggling.
I threw out the names, and I'll just spit a few out. You're not going to get to any conclusions, but starters right away: Wilson, Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Andrew Luck, Cam Newton, Sam Bradford, Stafford, David Carr, Wentz, Mariota, RG3, fake Matty Ice. It's Matt Ryan, everybody. That's fake Matty. That's what I call him now.
Well, most of those guys on that list balled right away.
EJ Manuel, Derek Carr, Geno Smith, Geno Smith might be one of the better examples of too, a guy who
story, yeah.
And he might come up later in our show. And then guys who sat the first few weeks, real Matty Ice, Big Ben, Danny Dimes, Baker, Vince Young. And then there's year 2 guys. Mahomes, Michael Vick, Carson Palmer, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Tim Tebow, Brady Quinn, and then beyond year 2, which that would never even really happen anymore, Rivers, Romo, Aaron Rodgers. But a lot of that was they're sitting behind a vet who's kind of finishing up. So it still makes no sense, and it's why we'll always be drawn to the quarterback position in the draft, and we'll always be talking about them on podcasts because there's no real answers, and we love when it works, and we try to figure out why it doesn't, and no one has any clue. And there is one other quarterback I want to talk about real quick because I did think of you too. I'm sitting there watching Red Zone. I got the Giants game going on, and my guy Will Levis, who I'm rooting for. I think I've loved the flashes we've seen. He's definitely done some real dumb. He had another crazy Reds. I don't even know what the Reds. I truly don't even. And I'm not a football. I don't know X's and O's. And then the cut to Callahan just going, "What the are you doing?"
Bro.
So clear for the camera. And I thought of you because I'm like, has any coach, high school, college, NFL, has there ever been that kind of play where you got that?
The only time, yeah. So this just made me think of this. There is not a lonelier feeling in the NFL as a quarterback. Well, one, when you throw a pick and you just throw a pick at home, or especially at home, when it's silent and you're just walking off the field, your head down in front of 70,000 people, and you just made a dumbass mistake. And then there's just a dumbass mistake, like Will Levis make. Like, what are you trying to do? It is, and then the picture of him on his knee, like, or whatever. Like, it was bad. So this got me to think of. I'm pretty sure I've been MF before. I'm pretty sure, but dude, the last game I ever played in the NFL was actually at Carolina. I was in Oakland. And Carson went down. I was backing up Carson at the time. Carson went down, like broke ribs. Like he got.
I think I remember this. Yeah,
crushed. Came in, was playing pretty well. End up like didn't play terrible, but we got beat like 28-17 or something like that. And my last throw of my NFL career.
Oh no,
bro!
Oh no!
I threw the ball 7 yards out of bounds. I threw a. Oh, dude, I can't even keep a straight face. Dude, we were down, and I don't know what it was, but I threw a go route like 6 yards out of bounds. It lands out of bounds. It's one of those where
Is that the one where like the line, if it, like the camera guy catches
bro,
it?
It's like, and we already lost. But I walk it off the field, dude, and Greg Knapp. God rest his soul. He passed away a couple years ago. He was my quarterback coach in Houston and my OC in Oakland. The best quarterback coach on the planet. Loved him. He sits me down and he goes, I don't know. He used to call me Lefty. He goes, Lefty. I think he goes, Lefty, you got to give your receiver a chance, man. That's what I was like, Coach, like, yeah, you don't think I knew that? That was the last throw I ever made in my career. And I didn't get MF, but it was like it was MF
without saying
it was
MF.
like your kid strikes out 3 times in a game and he walks in the car and he's already disappointed, and you look at your dad and your dad just has that disappointing look, like,
what else is there to say?
Yeah, like why are we going to all these hitting lessons to spend all this money when you can't hit? That was it. Like, I felt like I let my dad down, dude. It was
a little passive aggressive though.
By the way,
passive aggressive.
He was
let
pissed.
your receivers make a play.
He was pissed because we lost.
Yeah,
and his starting quarterback got hurt. I came in and was okay. Like, it was just one of those. But dude, I never got. Well, have you ever got MF'd on a set?
Well, before we do every show, I always have this talk with my manager, Lev, because he also has a great memory. He MFs me all the time, but not on set. He was also producer of Entourage and Ballers and a lot of great shows, manages Wahlberg as well. He MFs me in like real life jokingly because he's like my big brother, never on a set, although he did give me a passive aggressive. Like, here's the worst thing you could do to an actor, okay?
Right.
That's similar to what Coach did to you in that situation. It's called a line reading, meaning, all right, I'm saying Vince doesn't want to eat breakfast today. And the director or one of the producers is like, don't say it like that.
Yeah,
say it like,
right,
and they tell you how to say it, and now it's in your head, and you're just
then it
screwed.
takes 10 times
Over.
to do it. Yeah,
It's over. So, but we tried thinking, no, that honestly didn't really happen. I think there's maybe a few times the actors MF'd the producer. I don't think it was the other way. And now, obviously, in the last 5 years, I think if you talk like that on the set, you're probably getting sued and your career's over.
Have you ever been in a scene or in between scenes where you yelled at one of your, like...
I wouldn't say yelled, but I...
Or just like, come on, bro, like, get your together, like, but dead serious.
Yes. Here's a frustrating thing that can happen on a set.
Can we name the actor?
Potentially. Let me think about it as I tell this story. But not knowing your lines.
Yes. Because you're unprepared.
It's one of the more offensive things to do, because not only could the scene potentially suck, but then we all got to wait around for you to figure it out. And then you have crew members there who are they're there before we get there and they're there after we leave. The last thing they want to do is, oh, you had a fun night out last night? That's why we're on tape 19 waiting for you to get your... So there's been a few times in my career, I'll try and think if I want to name one of the people. And look, I've always known my lines. I've struggled with lines sometimes, but I always know. It's not because of lack of work. There's been a few times where I've gone to an actor and been like, dude, come get your together.
Is this on Entourage or this on Power? What?
Not on power. I'll say not on power. How's that for an answer without answering? I'll say not on power. There's been a few times I'm like, dude, is this the first time you're looking at this scene ever? On the day, that'd be like you looking at the play sheet for the first time.
Well, like you said, dude,
it's
so that's like the most. I've learned a little, like, you know, I've acted enough to where I've had to like memorize lines or commercials or whatever, and it's like, but you're actually right. It's like the amount of. I'm also amazed because we have a massive production on our on Big Noon Kickoff.
Yeah.
But for you and like movie sets and TV show sets, like the amount of manpower and production that goes into that. So, and basically they're all there for you to make you look good and for you to do your line. And when you're not prepared, you're not organized, like, yeah, you're affecting the whole day.
Kills the whole day.
Oh.
But it did get me thinking. And like I said, I think in today's Hollywood, in the last 5-7 years, if director or producer, MF, an actor, I think their career is probably over and get sued. But
soft.
I did just start thinking, I've not really been cursed out much in my life. I have to go back to teenage years in Brooklyn, running the streets, being a little punk. But there is one moment that sticks out. And it was real, and it was said with vitriol. It was at a Knicks game. I'm sitting courtside. Like, again, shout outs to everybody at the Knicks for letting that happen. Now, this is in the dark days of the Knicks. This is not the Jalen Brunson Knicks. These are more the Chris Duhon Knicks, if you recall those teams. And I'm sitting there with a friend, and they're playing the We Believe Warriors, like Baron Davis, that squad that went on that great run.
Yeah.
The game's over. Knicks are getting slapped. So my buddy and I, we start talking about player shoes. Again, they're inbounding the ball right near you. And I said something to a player, like jokingly, like, I don't really love those shoes. And to see if you can guess the player, if you have to look at the roster, the player turned out.
Was this for the Knicks or the Warriors?
This is for a Warrior.
Matt Barnes.
No, but
Steven Jackson.
The garden was quiet because the game was over. Steven Jackson, who's 3 feet away from me, turns around and screams, "Shut the up, motherfucker!" and inbounds the ball. I clutched pearls, bro. I got scared. I like froze.
Bro, that's not someone you don't want to piss off Steven Jack, dude.
A, I don't want to piss off Steven Jackson. B, I don't talk to athletes in the game because I just think that's corny, and also you're going to motivate them potentially. And it's like, I don't want people coming to set talking to me. But we were bored, and I didn't even think I think I commented that I didn't love his shoes. So I don't.
Could you imagine, dude, if you're just in the middle of a scene and like fans are allowed to heckle you while you're delivering a line?
Oh, there's careers that would have ended.
But they're still recording it, like they're still rolling.
I know several actors that would have retired early, and their careers would be over because they would not be able to handle. We can't handle criticism on things we shot a year ago. Things we filmed. You guys are getting criticized in the moment. We can't handle criticism for something we shot a year ago. So that was the last one that stuck out for me. Yeah.
By the way, when you wear that Sixers jersey courtside, you might get MF too.
We're not doing this right now. We're gonna do this later.
No, I know. I'm just giving.
Wait, but our Jets bet is I have to wear a Jets jersey. We've already established.
Yeah, but that Jets bet's not gonna happen. And I'm more about the shooting concept. We'll get into it later. It's not a big deal.
All right.
We're gonna give the people what they want.
We're gonna do one more quick game segment and then hit a break. I think this is a good way to talk about Week 3 if you're looking at the slate instead of previewing every single game. Let's boil it down to something every fan relates to. Which team do you think is most in need of a win? There's a lot, but there's one or two.
Who's your number one? Because I got a couple.
Well, I have two that really stuck out, but for me, it's the Bengals only because look, Washington's coming off a win, but it was a dopey win. Giants should have had a backup kicker. That's a story for another time. That's old news. If the Bengals were to lose to the Commanders and go 0-3, would you say it's almost a wrap? You lose to the Commanders, the Patriots. They haven't even begun their divisional schedule
a wrap
yet.
to make a playoff.
Yeah, you can't say season's over.
No,
I guess,
they got a lot of time. They got a lot of time left.
I don't know. To me,
so,
and I have a second one, but
I got two teams too. I'm gonna go Eagles.
Yeah,
they're 1-1.
Sorry, Andrew Gunling, our lovely producer. Saquon dropping
They
that pass
have.
was rough.
I mean, they're on the road at the Saints this week right now, who's maybe the best team in the NFL with the best.
We're going to
offense.
learn a lot with that.
Yeah,
one. We're going to learn.
We're going to learn. Wait, exactly. We'll learn a lot about those teams, and then I was going to go Ravens. I think Ravens are similar to the Bengals as far as like the expectation, and they get the Cowboys this week, who just coming off getting their ass kicked. But then you got to think they're going to bounce back. So you do not. I will say this. I remember. So in the NFL, you always tried, like you basically divided your schedule into quarters. So at that time we played 16 games. So 4, 4, 4, and 4. And we would sit with our coach. This was like quarterback means be like, all right, you kind of map out who you thought you would beat. Again, it's hard, but you kind of be like, all right, hey, first quarter, we got to go 2-2. You always want to go 2-2. You never want to go 1-3 or 0-4, obviously. 2-2 here. Hey, let's if we can go 3-1 here. Like you just kind of map it out. It's like we used to do that every year, and you just kind of be like, oh, we should beat the Chiefs are playing the Patriots. You would mark that as a W in your preseason, right? So you go 0-3 in the first quarter in that division, where the division, right? It's really between the Bengals and the Ravens, but both teams go 0-3. Like, I don't care who you are. It's hard enough to win games in the NFL.
I agree, Matt. And look, first of all, too, the loser of the Ravens-Cowboys game is going to be the headline on Monday. If you're the Cowboys and you lose but if you're the Cowboys and you lose 2 straight home games, it's going to be Cowboys have no home field advantage anymore. This defense isn't as good as we think. Cowboys will get trashed if they go 2 losses in a row at home. Even though 1-2, they'll still be okay in that division. At worst, they'll only be a game behind the Eagles. And if you're the Ravens, if you go 0-3, similar to the Bengals, it's bad. I just think it's a little more justifiable for the Ravens if they go 0-3 and they lose to Dallas.
And they lost to the Chiefs, obviously.
And they lost to the Chiefs. Then if the Bengals. But here's what I'll say about what you're saying. You're saying Bengals, Ravens, it comes down to. Steelers are 2-0. And I did a little deep dive with them. Now, they don't play their first divisional game till week 11. Wow. Their bye week is week 10. Now, I know they have to work out some things with Fields and Wilson along the way. But along that route, they still get the Giants, the Commanders, the Colts, the Chargers, which, you can't say anymore. That's an easy win. That game might be 6-3 final, Chargers-Steelers. But they get the Colts, and then they do get the Jets, but that's, Jets I think will be coming around by that time. There's a chance the Steelers are effortlessly 6-2 going into their first divisional game, week 11, coming off a bye. They might have a pretty nice head start going into that division. By the way,
that's Fields' team. That's Fields' team.
I agree.
It's done. It's a wrap.
I agree. Sorry, Russ. I agree. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
What's up, everybody? Matt Leinart here, and I've teamed up with DraftKings this football season for all my sports betting needs. As an official partner of the NFL, DraftKings is my go-to destination for all the action, parlays, anytime touchdowns, futures, you name it. And right now, all new customers who bet $5 will instantly get $250 in bonus bets, plus 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up using my promo code Throwbacks. That's $250 in bonus bets instantly and 1 month of NFL Plus Premium after betting just $5. Stay in on the action and use your $250 in bonus bets to bet anytime touchdowns on DraftKings. DraftKings is the place to bet touchdowns. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy and have the shot to win cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use the promo code Throwbacks and bet just $5 on any wager and get $250 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code Throwbacks only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/bonusbets. NFL.com/FTBall. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at NFL.com/terms.
You've had Wendy's nugs dipped in sauce, but have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new saucy nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11.
You can choose between flavors like buffalo, you got honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker, you can try spicy ghost pepper, only on Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you.
I'm a heat seeker. That's 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and prepare to nug like you've never nugged before.
For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's.
All right, it's time for one of my favorite segments now, the Can't Get Enough Sauce Moment of the Week, brought to you by Wendy's, where we highlight an athlete who did something positive on and off the field. And basically, we just can't get enough of this player. The same way we can't get enough of Wendy's new saucy nugs. Big shout outs to Wendy's. This is a good week. A lot's happened, Matt. We're going to start with you. Who is your can't get enough sauce moment of the week player?
So my player is Arch Manning.
Whoa.
Okay,
Okay.
How about this? Quinn Ewers goes down. Quinn Ewers is going to be fine. Arch Manning, the expectation, the name, maybe the biggest last name in collegiate sports since Bronny James and LeBron. And he goes 9 for 12, 223, 4 tutties, and then he has a 67-yard rushing touchdown where he topped 20 miles per hour. And then they're saying, oh, it was faster than a Tyreek Hill, which is obviously not true.
Well,
but
let's not get nuts.
But 5 touchdowns in his debut, obviously playing a lot of football in a meaningful game. So the future is bright in Austin, Texas with Arch Manning. That is my player of the week.
Also, potentially a Giants quarterback somewhere down the road. And then I just, someone sent me basically the only time a Manning's gone 20 miles an hour is on the way to the game in their car. So
maybe it's the best Manning of all time. We'll see. Long way to go.
Got some wheels. That's a good one. For me, I don't have one person or play. I have a bunch of people, and it has nothing to do with my Giants. It's the Bills fans. Obviously, we saw what happened with Tua, and now he's on IR, and we're all anxiously just hoping that he's okay and everything's good. But Bills Mafia has helped raise $16,000 to the Tua Foundation. And you go back, they donated $360K following a Lamar Jackson concussion, $415,000 after a Bengals win helped them clinch their playoff berth. And then my favorite, they donated over $270K to cat adoption after Tyler Bass missed a game tying kick. So shout outs to the Bills Mafia. We all love you going through tables and whatnot, but more so, we love what you're doing and actually, being funny, but also in a very helpful way. So shout outs. That's mine.
I will say this. I played in Buffalo for like 5 days, and the one thing that I took away from it was the fans. There was like a fan event that week. It was right before the regular season, and I was like, "Oh, dude! Like this is why you hear all the stuff about Bills Mafia, whether just the good stuff they do or just the rabid fan base that they are. They're tremendous." But all right, man, we're gonna go from good to bad here, and it wouldn't be a throwback show without talking about your squad, the Giants. All right, so there was a tweet over the weekend from Bobby Skinner of Talking Giants. Basically said, Giants have been 0-2 in 10 of the last 12 years.
That's disgusting.
Hey, season's not over.
Yes,
Danny Dimes was not the reason they lost. How we feeling?
Matt, they scored, and someone said this has never been done before. Maybe they scored 3 offensive touchdowns, gave up 0 touchdowns, and lost. I don't know how you don't have a backup kick. Here's a dumb fan question for you. So Gano is hurt going into the game already, and then he gets hurt basically on like the opening kickoff. Like what? Why would a coach not in that situation have another kicker on the roster for that game, knowing your kicker's already a little limp? Like what position are you taking away from? Is it like a third string center? Like what are you keeping on the roster on the active roster?
You should just go for 2 every time. But
they did essentially, and they didn't get it every time.
I mean, look, you're not there's teams,
and they went for it every 4th down.
Teams aren't keeping 2 kickers on the team, dude.
I get it, but when already going into it, I'm not saying like
he was probably healthy enough to go. I mean, I'm sure he was taking warm-up kicks in the pregame, and he just aggravated it. And then obviously that changes. It's like, all right, we're going to go for 2.
One of the rare times that the loss is definitely not on Danny Dimes. I thought he played pretty well. But a lot of Giant fans, speaking of throwing it back, went all the way back to 2007. Say, oh, well, you know, Giants started 0-2 in 2007 with a horrible defense, and then Strahan had that tackle to stop Washington, and then we went on our run. I'm like, this is... that's 2007. I was not married with no kids starring on Entourage throwing it back. So, but it did bring up a thought for me. You're hearing that stat. So I think we might know one of the answers right there. But if you go back to say, I like thinking in terms of decades. So go back to 2014, the losingest franchises in the NFL, top 5, meaning 5 is they've lost a lot, but number 1 is the losingest. Now I did my list and then I looked it up, so I'm ineligible. But I figured, you know, you played in the last.
I did not play in the last decade.
When was your last 12?
2012 or 13,
right.
yeah.
So good, you're not a part of this. This is wonderful.
This was regular season, right? Correct?
Regular season.
Well, clearly,
only.
They're not making the playoffs. Okay, so 5, I put the Browns.
Okay.
4, I put Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
3, I put your Giants. 2, I put the Cardinals. And 1, I put the Jags. How many did I get right in the top 5?
So my top 5, we were aligned on the Cardinals. I had my Cardinals. I had your Cardinals in there as well. We were both wrong. The Cardinals are not on that list. Okay, so we're gonna start at number 5. I did not have them on the list at all, and neither did you. The Bears. Ashton Kutcher's Chicago Bears.
Oh, that makes
number
sense.
5. The Panthers are also not on the list. I guess Cam Newton in that period got them padded enough W's to get them off. But you were correct on the Cleveland Browns, with the Cleveland Browns number 4.
Okay.
We gave away one of the answers when you say a team's been 0-2 the last 10 years.
Giants.
The New York Football Giants number 3. We're going to keep it in New York for a team that hasn't been in the playoffs since I don't even remember the Jets. Basically, Sanchez was the last playoff appearance.
And I was thinking, okay, so he must have played before that, because I was thinking, the Sanchez Jets, with Ryan, like they had some pretty good years there, but that was before 20.
I think that was similarly
before. Yeah, because he was probably 07, yeah, you're right. So that was probably before, and they've been down.
That was like their last run. And then number 1, and I did not have this in my top 5. I failed. Jacksonville Jaguars are the losingest
I had them number 1
in the last 10 years. I don't know. I guess I didn't really think about it enough, but when you go through it, like the Blake Bortles and Gardner Minshew for a year and a half, and just 10 years of ineptitude. So
I got 3 of the 5.
You got 3 of the 5, and
wow,
I was
I'm
really
surprised
the
Cardinals were not in there.
I had the Cardinals too. I don't know. I'm trying to even go back to 2016. Andrew, who was the Cardinals quarterback in like 2017?
They had wasn't
that they were stacking
Carson.
wins.
Maybe it was Carson.
Was it Carson?
And they won. They went to the playoffs, so that's right. I don't know if he was 17, but they had him, and then his backup was Drew Stanton. I believe.
Stanton, yes.
And then they had a couple years there, and then they drafted Kyler 3-4 years ago.
So Andrew just texted us too. Jets' last playoff appearance was 2010.
Yeah, so
when they lost in the AFC title game to the Steelers, which that's they're going on 15 years with no playoffs.
Oh, dude, it's rough to be a New York football fan right now.
Yeah, but we got the Knicks.
2 of the top 5 losingest organizations the last 10 years hail from New York City.
But we got the Knicks. We got the Knicks. That's all that matters. Cardinals 11-5, 2014, 13-3 in 2015.
Yeah,
so that alone probably got them out of
Carson.
this.
That was Carson. Yeah. By the way, I cannot wait to do this pod during the NBA season with you.
Oh, it's coming. And we're going to talk. You know what? There is a relevant NBA story. We're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about that. All right, coming back here really quick. You mentioned you can't wait to do this show till the NBA, and we talked Woj, so that was our NBA fix. But really, really quick, the amount of stuff on Twitter, X, whatever, with Brunson with the Eagles jersey, what are we doing, Knicks fans? Let's not start this way. The man gets a pass. What do we care if he wears an Eagles fan?
I also don't understand like whether like a grown man wearing a jersey. I don't know, man. It's just like a weird thing to me. Like I could picture weirdly, I could picture you wearing a jersey, and like I think it's okay. But I've never understood. Like I would never go. And I love Jalen Brunson, but I would never go to a sporting event wearing a Kobe jersey or I'm wearing a Dodger t-shirt right now. This is about as good as you'll get from me.
I just always these days.
I always laugh when grown men are wearing jerseys. I think it's so funny. But yeah, like he's a Philly fan. It's all right.
So my buddy, who's a comedian, Brett Ernst, amazing comic and huge Cowboys fan, has a joke in his bit where he says, I'll never wear another man's name on my back.
Exactly.
I get the fandom of doing it, but when he says it like that, it's like, all right, that's a pretty macho way of saying he don't wear jerseys anymore. But yeah, he does wear Cowboy jerseys, but there's no player name.
Dude, kids all day, but grown men, no. Hey, dude, you made a trade a couple weeks ago. I want to bring this back because we didn't.
Oh, my football trade.
You made a football trade. Okay,
yes.
So first episode, you basically said that you're putting in the points at home with the kids. I think you're making meals. You're driving. You basically missed your dad for the week.
Yes.
To be able to watch football all day Sunday, right? With no interruptions.
Yes. And it's mainly the biggest thing, which is one of my wife's biggest, not complaints, but she gets stressed out with more so not cooking dinner, but the prep for cooking dinner. Like if you get out in front, and there's some moms and dads or just healthy eating people know, if you get out in front of the chopping and prepping, it's easy to cook, right?
Yes.
But it's a chore. So my trade, was like, hey, look, I'll set up with the laptop and the TV, and I'll just chop. I'm the sous chef. I'll get it all done. Week 1, I said I went 1-0. It was a big success. Week 2, and there's always one every year in football. I think it was a tie. I think I'm 1-0.
So is that just hold up every week? Like, honey,
for now.
This is what I'll do. Just let me have some peace. Let me have my Sunday. Let me have an afternoon.
She took the kids out of the house for 6 hours. I was alone in the house.
What a saint.
But here's what's starting to happen, Matt. And this might not be a thing. I lived in LA 20 years. It wasn't nearly as big of a thing as the East Coast and the Midwest. We all know a lot of dads out there might know it's starting to become the fall, which means pumpkin picking, apple picking.
Bro, those weekends fill up real quick.
And I just feel like there's no way I'm going to have to give up a week in the next month going into Halloween where I'm at a pumpkin patch or an apple orchard watching on my phone. So I say I tied.
That's what Saturdays are for.
No, Saturdays are for soccer and hip hop dance class and one of the 40 activities that these kids do. Sunday's kind of a bye day for the kids. They don't really have anything. And my wife's been amazing through 2 weeks. It's funny because before kids, she loved watching football. She used to beat me every week in fantasy. We'd go head to head on one of the apps. She would destroy me every week. That was like our thing. We'd go to Goal, that very sport, or the parlor, that sports bar where you went on the date with your wife. Those days are over. She could care less.
Dude, I don't even remember what life was like before kids.
No, I don't.
Every once in a while, we'll talk about like, oh my God, we stayed up till 11 watching the first show we ever watched was Bloodline, I think, at the time.
Bloodline
was a great show. Yeah. We would stay up, and then like Game of Thrones, right? We would just go like binge that. But till midnight, not have to wake up. That was kind of before I was doing this job, and she was still acting, right? So she her schedule was kind of all over the place. I just don't remember. And now, the weekends are filled with birthday parties and play dates and God, dude.
I might need to spice up the trade. We were talking off the air the other day with Andrew. I know Andrew was in a similar situation. He found himself wanting to make a trade as well. Andrew, I don't know if you have any updates on yours. I'm going to throw it out to the listeners right now. You could either hit us on our socials at Throwback Show or email us. It's feedback@throwbackshow.com. And let us know if you've made similar trades or even if you have a better trade that we should implement.
What are some of you guys doing in order to just live your best day on a Sunday? Just like free of chaos. I would love to know. The only thing that bites me in the butt is I'm gone Saturdays. Right. And so Sunday is my day with the kids, and I enjoy that. And we have baseball, and Kaysen has baseball, 4.5-year-old on Sunday. So I'm not necessarily able to be glued to the TV, but I am best believe I'm on my phone checking that scores all day.
Yes, it's all good. It's a long season, and we don't even have basketball yet. At least with basketball, it's a little. I could hold off on the Knicks game till 9 o'clock when everyone's asleep, and I'm really good at if I record a game. I do have the Jedi discipline of not looking at my phone, not going on social media, and I will watch the game and just power through.
You're one of those
basketball
guys.
only though, not football. I can't do it with football.
You can't rewatch a sporting event that already happened.
It's not rewatching. I'm like a solid hour to hour and 20 behind. With the commercial breaks and halftime, it's really you're a solid hour behind. I can't do it with a playoff game. I'm saying Knicks Hornets on a Wednesday night in December, you could do it. It's the worst things to do.
Dude, I'm gonna introduce you to one of my boys who he used to TiVo. He would TiVo a full Lakers game, watch it the next day. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? I'll tell you who won right now. The Lakers won.
The Lakers beat the Supersonics.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Did you see? I got a lot of people hitting me up on Twitter because of the Jane's Addiction sort of on stage fight with Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro, and it's Jane's Addiction because the Entourage theme song is Superhero by Jane's Addiction. I tried to get some backstory why our producers went with that song. There's no remembrance really of why, but I can't tell you, not a day goes by someone doesn't scream at me, oh yeah, but
Turtle.
And I know, the band has come out and just like canceled their tour.
That was wild.
So Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro, they get into an argument, and then a punch was thrown. It looked like Perry threw a punch, and I know the band has come out. They canceled the tour, and I think Perry, has, some things he has to maybe get through. I don't know, and that's tragic, and you hope everybody's okay. But it again got me thinking. You don't ever really see that with music, and I tried really thinking about on set, and I have a few things to pull from, but. Does that even happen as much in NFL locker rooms? You think testosterone fuel? I mean, I go back to Geno Smith getting punched.
Yeah.
I forget
broken face, jaw.
Broke his face in, he's the quarterback of the team. In any of your memories, you have any where it came to? I know arguments are one thing, but where it actually came to punches.
I don't think so. Like the locker room is an interesting place. I always say it's the greatest place. In sports, just to be around like so many different guys and personalities. But there were a lot of like talking, get in your face, like, and then guys back it up just because you don't want it ever to get to the point of throwing a punch to your teammate, whether it's a quarterback or not. Like that, right. It's just the quickest way to ruin a locker room when you're supposed to be building up that locker room to win a Super Bowl, essentially, is your goal.
And injure your quarterback.
Yeah, and injure your quarterback, or like, I always thought it was like, you've seen this a million times when you see the training camp fights or whatever, and like people are punching you when you have a helmet on.
But that's different than a locker room fight.
Well, no, but we were always told like, one, quarterbacks were like, anytime there's a scrum, get your ass out of there, dude. Don't even go in there. Like, stop trying to be a tough guy because no one thinks you're tough. But it was like, bro, if you're going to throw a punch, make sure the guy's helmet is off. You know how many guys have thrown punches with guys that have helmets? You're going to break your hand, man.
Yeah.
I'm curious of a set. Like I've seen enough sets to where like I can't imagine there's brawls or like fist fights, but there's got to be like altercations, right?
Well, it's so funny you said what the quarterback is told during like a on the field fight, because I made that reference with Adrian Grenier, who played Vince. We did this scene in Vegas where we get into a fight with Seth Green and his crew. Really funny episode. A lot of Seth Green, one of the more memorable Entourage cameos. But while we were like rehearsing, it's so funny with actors, dude. No actor wants to get beat up in a fight. Right. If you're doing a fight scene, you don't want to be on the ground getting pummeled. So, and I have a funny story about when I got my ass kicked in the scene. And but anyway, with Entourage, so once we figure out how awesome we're gonna look fighting, then Adrian, who plays Vince, is kind of like, well, what am I doing during this? And I said to him, and Adrian's not a sports guy, I said, dude, you're the quarterback. He's like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, it means you just walk away because you're the movie star and we got to protect you at all costs. So just walk away. He's like, oh, I didn't know that about quarterbacks. He knows nothing about sports. So he walks away. I did shoot this movie called Las Vegas, which was like senior citizen hangover, right?
Yeah,
and it was
I
with
saw it.
Robert De Niro, Michael Douglas, Morgan Freeman. And in the movie, I get knocked the F out by Robert De Niro. So there's a few times, like I said, no actor wants to get beat up in a movie, but if you are going to get dropped, Jake LaMotta, the Raging Bull, is a good person.
So what? So you did that? Was that like your own stunt? Did you get punched in the face?
It was my own
stunt.
Like but here's where it's surreal, right? So we're doing the scene. I walk in and I kind of like brush up on this girl and like act a little inappropriate. De Niro like sets me straight. I wise off to him and boom, drops me. So we do the first take. And I'm still in my mind like, holy crap, this is Robert De Niro, like one of my childhood acting heroes. We do the first take. I go flying. I did my own stunt. Wasn't that dangerous. And then he helps me up, and I'm walking back, and De Niro's like, "Oh, Jerry, your shoe's untied. Be careful. You don't want to trip." I'm like, it was like my uncle telling me like to tie my shoes. So it was. But as far as like on a set, look, I have never seen punches thrown. I've certainly seen heated arguments. First of all, most actors are a bunch of, I don't know, how much can I curse on here? Bleep me. Are a bunch of, I'm sorry. Yeah. We're not.
The like last thing you're trying to get is the pretty face hit. Yeah.
And then there's also that you punch Adrian in the face and he has a black eye. We shut down for 3 weeks. And but I
can't picture Adrian getting in a fight.
No, never. And we protect him like we're like his offensive line.
Yeah.
But I went to my manager, Lev, and I was like, does anything stick out to you? And he said, look, within the last 10 years, no, it's never. But he's like, if I go back in the files, I think I could conjure up a few stories that maybe got either to that level or very close with some pretty, I'm going to try and lure him on to talking about it. Or Wahlberg, because Wahlberg for sure has to, if it ever happened on the set, I feel like he might have seen it.
Oh, we got to get Wahlberg on. I'm sure that guy's got stories for days.
Oh, he's the best. You never met Mark before?
I don't think I've ever met. We have a couple mutual friends. Right. He's like one of my favorite actors. Like I just feel like if I met him, I feel like we would just be boys. Like he would just be like sure. He's like one of the guys. You know what I mean?
And then you get into a lot of good Celtics Lakers banter.
Yeah,
you'd always see Mark when the Celtics were playing in LA. He always takes his kids, and they're
he's a legend, man. He's awesome. Just seems like one of the good ones.
Yeah. All right. So, what are we watching this weekend? One of my favorite things. You could either pick a game, a football game, whatever, a sporting event, TV show. If you could pick one thing to watch this weekend, what is the real Matty Ice watching?
Is it what I'm watching or what I'm forced to watch with my wife? Because you know what I'm
either or.
You know what I've been forced to watch? Emily in Paris.
Okay. It's so funny because
I actually like it. I don't mind it.
Everyone's asking me if I'm going to Giants Browns because the Giants are in Cleveland. I am not. I am heading to the Bahamas, folks. That's right. For a golf outing. Derek Jeter and the Turn 2 Foundation have their charity outing. First of all, if you're a baseball fan, this is an unbelievable event. It's like Ken Griffey Jr., Andrew Jones, Fred McGriff, Tino Martinez, like these awesome baseball names. But so I will not be going to Giants Browns, but I was talking to my wife about what are you going to watch on the plane? Emily in Paris.
Really?
That's the biggest show. That's one of the biggest shows out there for men and women, or men that are forced to watch.
It's good. I enjoy it. Another show that she's like randomly binging right now that we're in like these weird schedules because she's pregnant, so she's tired, so she's in bed early. She likes to kind of put on like mindless TV at night, because she's on her, a lawyer, she's on all day.
You got to detach.
Yeah, and then I get into bed a little later and I'm ready to go to bed. She's watching Gilmore Girls. She brought back Gilmore Girls. And I'm like, if you're going to bring anything back, bring back like Dawson's Creek or One Tree Hill or like, let's get a 90210. Like, let's just go. Let's go old school.
Throwback. That's a true throwback.
True throwback.
We should maybe do that. Like what throwback show would you watch?
We should get James Vanderbeek on. Talk Dawson's Creek and then talk
Varsity Blues. I got a million Varsity Blues questions because he kind of had the arm talent. Look, one of my biggest pet peeves.
He did not. Is seeing an actor who can't throw.
That one dude.
He was okay.
there's that one dude who's a very, very famous meme. It's not Stephen Amell. It might be Robbie Amell. It's funny because you might have Stephen Amell on the show at some point. And it's like a close-up, but not... It just looks like the dude never threw a football.
Dude,
like, there's ways around this, guys.
Most underrated quarterback movie actor, Keanu Reeves, The Replacements. Did you ever see that movie?
You know, I've done the Academy Awards of sports movies.
Fantastic movie.
I would like to do that with you.
Yes,
Maybe
let's do that.
A segment, we could break it up because I am obsessed with sports movies, right?
Oh, they're the
Obviously.
best. Ranking sports movies are the greatest thing ever.
We're going to do that. And that's a fun thing to get the audience involved in. All right. For me, yeah,
what do you got?
I'm definitely going to watch some YouTube golf. I love to watch YouTube golfers, whether it's Bob Does Sports, Good, Grant Horvat, all those guys, because I'm getting ready for that. But bottom line is, I'm watching football. It's just happening. Because Sunday, I'm going to be I'm going to try and watch the game.
Are you golfing Sunday? You're golfing Saturday?
Little golf in the morning. It's every day. We're golfing every day.
So what day? Sunday it ends what, like afternoon?
Sunday it ends like right around 1.
Oh, then you're
watch
just going.
A game,
you're going to the bar, having a drink, and watching football.
Exactly. I'm going to try to pull like Ken Griffey Jr. By the way, I'm going to try.
Ken Griffey Jr., my favorite baseball player of all time, by the way.
And his golf swing is
it's
just
probably,
as pretty to watch as his baseball swing.
Best swing of all time. I met him in a game. He was the hitting coach. I was at a Dodger game, and he was a hitting coach for the team they were playing. This was whatever, and I was like, and he was awesome. But I went up to him. I said, "Dude, you were like, I would say you were my favorite player of all time." And he was.
You know
cool
what I
shit.
talked to him about? Obviously, we all love his baseball shoe, which is like iconic from back in the day as a throwback. And, obviously, Jordan makes great golf shoes. We need the Ken Griffey Jr. colorway, but the golf shoe version, like soft spikes on the bottom. I would love to golf in some Ken Griffey Jr.
Also, one of the best Ken Griffey Jr. baseball, I think, was on Super Nintendo.
Super Nintendo,
Dude,
that's a great one.
That game was so fun. God,
all right, well,
Griff the kid.
Yeah, we came in with, where you were. Where are you going this weekend, Matt?
Where am I going this weekend? I am going to Columbus, Ohio.
When I'm leaving.
For an absolute beatdown of Marshall. That's what I'm going to.
Nice 40-point spread.
Oh, bro, it's you know what? It's always fun to go to. It's always fun to go to Columbus. Great town. We're staying. Guess where we're staying?
Where?
Muirfield. Oh. Yes, we're staying like
golf
frat boys,
there.
and that we're staying in the big houses they have there on the golf course.
Yeah, anyone golfing?
I'm imagining
have time.
Yeah, I imagine like urban. They usually golf. But yeah, Muirfield, which is cool. And obviously one of the best teams in the country. So this is the first time we got them this year. So it'll be good. It'll be fun that. They got a lot of good games on this weekend too. So it'll be fun, man.
We're going to have a lot to recap. You're coming back from Columbus. I'm coming back from the Bahamas.
I cannot wait to hear about the Bahamas. Honestly, that's going to be rad.
There's this one moment I have in my head where they do this thing where they do closest to the pin with all the celebrities on the par 3, right? And we did it last year. J.R. Smith won. I think I put it's like 25 feet, very mediocre shot. But it got me thinking, like, obviously all hole-in-ones are fantastic. You get a hole-in-one, it's iconic. Everyone except for Derek Carr, who got a hole-in-one alone and had to film himself alone, couldn't celebrate with anyone. I don't think there's a better hole-in-one outside of like on the PGA Tour for millions of dollars. There might not be a better hole-in-one than at the Turn 2 golf tournament. Because imagine I hole out from 160 yards and I turn around and it's Jeter, Griffey, Tino, all these baseball players I respect in my whole life. That's who I'm celebrating with.
What's your are you chest bumping, guys? What's your celebration?
I don't even know, because also they film all of it. There's drones in the sky, so this would be the greatest social media clip I could ever achieve.
No pressure,
it'd be good
but
for the show. It'd be good. You better
hold that. You better hold it.
All right, that's gonna do it for us. Thank you everybody again who's downloaded, listened, helped us get to #1 on Apple Podcasts, which was real cool. And if you haven't already subscribe to us and follow us on social media at Throwbacks Show on all platforms. We look forward to hear from you, Matt. Have a good one. Safe travels, buddy. I'll see you next week.
Later, bro. You too.